Hello, welcome back to my channel. I am trying something different today, and I'm starting a new series called the Breakthrough Broadcast. And what I want to do here is to share my breakthroughs so that you can take it and run with it and actually glean wisdom from it. So I'm going to start this breakthrough with a little story. So once upon a time, there was, and this is going to be applicable to everybody. So in this story, 3 years old, stuff happens, right? So whatever age it is, there's always some kind of trauma, there's always some kind of conditioning, there's always something, right? So this plays out in our lives in the form of leadership and how you're leading your ship. And this is fascinating. This one actually just kind of like blew my mind when I figured it out, because I actually found this little story. I was reading about, I can't remember exactly the context, but when this particular child, I was reading some personality type kind of thing. Anyway, that's where it's coming from. And it said that in this personality type, when the child is young, that there's some kind of trauma, and then they end up taking on this particular role. And I was like, what? And that blew my mind, because it was actually true. Like, I did take on the role of the little protector. And so that was fascinating to see that unravel in front of my eyes, that how I was actually leading my life in the protecting other role and protecting myself, all that stuff. But the point of this video is the two different kinds of leadership here. And this is what I want to talk about today, because there's such a thing about leadership, like, and I totally get it, because like in this day and age, like it's August of 2024, this day and age, we see pretty shitty leaders, right? Like, leadership is not something that we really vibe with. We have like a bad sense about it. But in all honesty, I'm going to give you a perfect example of what's going on here. So, like I said, there's two forms of leadership. And the one that we're seeing is the first one that I'm going to talk about. And you will see it everywhere. I saw it in myself. And the goal of this video is for you to see it in yourself and go, oh my God, like to have that aha moment and then make the choice. And I'm going to give you the other type of leadership so that you can kind of get a sense of where you're going with it. And leadership in itself is not a bad thing. I used to be so terrified of it, like just like, no, I don't resonate with that whatsoever. But so let's get into this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to establish that I'm starting like a new series called the Breakthrough Broadcast. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Breakthrough Broadcast. So this is going to be like, no, broadcast. Anyway, it's a good thing I don't edit any of these videos. I just go full on, you get me as I am. Okay, so Breakthrough Broadcast number 1. So now this one is going to be about leadership. And there's two kinds of leadership, and I don't even know. I'm going to say there's a high percentage of people that actually go with this leadership, me being a part of it as well. So the first leadership that I want to talk about today is survival leadership. Survival. And everybody will know what this means, but I want to give you like such a good definition about survival leadership. You're going to see how this is playing out in the rest of society. You're going to see how this plays out in your life. And then the next leadership, we're going to get into it. And then you can see how you can change all that. So the survival leadership, I'm calling it that because this is the leadership that we take on when we're wounded. So like in my case, there was an incident that happened when I was 3 and I took on this little role. So I was, in a sense, not even understanding or comprehending what was actually happening. But I took on this little protective role, which did influence how I was leading. And I was playing small because I was being protective. So this whole thing, you can do the whole survival leadership. You can create so much from it, but ultimately there's going to be cracks in the ship and you're going to end up jumping off and you're going to be going, what the hell's going on? Now, this goes for everything in life. Like, we do the survival leadership everywhere in our life. We do it with money. We do it with our relationships. We do it with our business. And if you're in business, because this video is geared for women that are in business and they're finding it a little bit challenged to get it really get the traction that they know that they can do. This is something that I dealt with. I'm like, why is this so challenging? It's because I was in survival leadership. So the problem with this is that in survival leadership, we only focus on the results. All we care about is results. We give a little bit of the how. And that's a little bit, it's missing something here. Let's just put it that way. There's cracks in the ship. You're missing something. You're not really connected to anything. And believe me, I felt this one big time when I was reading this and I figured this out. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And in the survival leadership, there is blaming of others. We don't own our emotions. We are critical. Like I said, result oriented. So we're pushing for results. We don't care how we get them. We just go for it. We don't really have a why. We kind of know the how, but we don't give all the details. Like, have you ever seen those kinds of posts where people talk about like, oh, how do you do this? But they don't go really deep. It's because there's no connection there. There's Zippo. And yeah, it's quite interesting. I do have a couple of notes here, but so this is like leadership that's weathering the storm. You are like, even me, I'm not going to say you, but me, I wasn't taking responsibility in my life. Lots of places, like money, business, you name it. I wasn't taking responsibility for it. And so that reflected, that's why things were such a challenge, is because it was asking me to see where I was in survival mode. It was asking me to see where I was in survival mode. This was the biggest challenge. And I don't remember exactly when, but I had drawn a card this one day and I was like, I don't even remember the question, but I had kept it bookmarked because it was just so important. And it's quite interesting, like with the survival leadership, it's comfort. It's comfort in the wounding, and we don't want to go past it because we've identified with this wounding. And I totally identified with being the protector. I can tell you I was like protecting my brothers, protecting this person, protecting that person, and so I just wanted to just kind of quickly draw, like this is the card that I drew. Can you see that okay? Hang on, it's not focusing very well, but and the ring light doesn't help either. But anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. See, there, that's a little better. It's still blurry, but anyway, you get the drift. So this one blew me away because it's the survival leadership is basically disconnection. And it's saying in here, the disconnection is what you're not seeing. It is the hardest part about the disconnection when you're using it as a coping mechanism. You feel like relief, like it's totally your comfort zone. And even though things aren't perfect, you're still pushing, you're still striving, you're still forcing things to happen. It's because you don't know any other way. You're in survival. And that's totally fine. I've done it. I've done it like so many different ways. It's insane. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. And then you have the opportunity to change. And that's why my breakthroughs is going to be broadcasted for you. Okay, so it may feel like you're more in harmony and more connected, even though the truth is opposite. So again, it's that comfort piece. You feel like you're in harmony with this survival mode. Like I totally felt like that was my jam, to protect the underdog, right? And it plays out with different kinds of people. People can detach from their emotions, their friends, their partners, from their own essence, from their children, from their hearts, their true desires. And that's survival leadership. And leadership isn't a bad thing. It's just been so displayed in such a shitty way that we don't know what it actually means to be a true leader. Now, in my membership, we kind of go through a little bit of this, of the stripping away the convention so that you can find your authentic self, because that's the problem, is that the survival leadership isn't your authentic self. You're not leading through your authentic being. And so this is the problem. This is why things are so challenging. So I've encountered it. I've experienced it with the difficulties in, the challenges that I've faced in my business and in my life, things like that. It's because I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't being me. I had to strip away all the bullshit, all the convention, burn it all down, basically stick it to the man kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now let's talk about self-leadership. This is owning your ship. We're leaving weathering the storm, because that's what you're doing in survival leadership, is putting out fires. You're just literally weathering the storm. So in this one, we're talking about self-leadership. And this is such a huge difference. I mean, I even got the chills just talking about it. So this is a massive difference. Excuse me. This is owning your journey. This is you and me stripping away all of the convention, all the BS that society says, what your parents say, whoever says what about you, not being bold, being rejected because you have some crazy ideas. Like, strip that away. Own the shit out of it, that you have a voice, that you're here to do stuff. And this is what's going to drive home the best qualities of leadership ever. So let's do this. Okay, so owning your journey means you own your emotions, you own your feelings, you own your relationships, you own your money, you own everything, and you're not afraid to go and look at it. And if you are, that's fine. Right now, to be perfectly honest with you, I know I hadn't been taking responsibility for my own body and its own health, and which is ridiculous because I've studied acupuncture, I've got Chinese herbal medicine behind me. I know all this stuff to take care of the body, but am I taking care of my own body? No. I'm not being responsible in my own health. So it can show up anyway. It can show up in your relationships by not having the conversations that you need to have. It shows up. So you are responsible for your depth of your emotions, your desires. You know what your desires are. And if any of this sounds like it might be a little overwhelming, I totally got you. Like, I know it makes perfect sense, because it's like so overwhelming. It's like, where do you begin? And that's the $1 million question. Is, for me, the most important thing right now is obviously being responsible in my business. 2, being responsible in my body, because my body is my vessel. And I slowly work at it every day. I'm being responsible. I'm responsible for my mind. I don't let it think shitty thoughts and create shitty ideas. I'm like, no, okay, where did we just go? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to pivot and we're going to create something else. Because I tell you what, if you're listening to this video, you are a powerful creator, whether you're creating shitty ideas or beautiful ideas. It's how you use your power. And this self-leadership is you taking back your power. And everybody's like, oh my God, power, leadership, I can't do that. And the biggest thing about that is, like, what if you screw it all up? What if you fuck it up? What if you lead them down the wrong path? Like, then what? You're responsible. And it's a pretty heavy, big burden. And you need to clear out that responsibility, that depth of heaviness there. Like, it really, really needs to be cleared out. You have to be able to get past all that conventional crap, burn that shit to the freaking ground, and learn to trust your instincts. Your instincts is your guide. That's your number one thing. So survival leadership, you don't have that. You don't have instincts. All you have is your ego guiding the ship. And we all know that's just like never going to work. So with the self leadership, you have your why. You know your emotions. You know that your depth. You know you're balanced inside. You know your mind. You can focus and say, no, we're not doing that. We're going to go and do this. You can say to yourself, oh, look at the beautiful thing I just created. It's such a horrible little story. We're not doing that. We're going to create a different story. So you know this stuff. You know this about yourself. You know what your relationships need. You know where you need to take responsibility in your relationships. regardless if the other partner is pulling their weight or not. That's not the point. That just means that you're blaming the other person for things not working. It's you taking responsibility for the things that are not right in your life. And that's not easy because that means things are going to change. But it's a good change. So you'll have your why. You'll know. You'll be authentic. You know your why. You'll know why you're here. You'll have your purpose. You'll have your mission. And from there, everything will click. You'll know the how, because your instincts will tell you how. And then the results are just going to happen. You have no expectation on the results. So it's a total flip around from survival when you go from results oriented to that's just the tangible result that happens when you are fully embodied in yourself. So, then I have this thing here too. This was quite amazing too. I don't know, I'll have to post it on the community page there about this photo. This deck of cards that I ordered, they're so beautiful. Oh my goodness, they're so beautiful. So this is responsibility. And it says, I cherish my responsibility for my life and dedication, leading with integrity and accountability. And just the essence of it is actually it's so good. It's embracing responsibility within the conscious design of our lives and casting higher visions is about moving through life with deep awareness of our influence and the legacy we wish to create. And that in itself is, I could just keep reading, but that alone is worth its weight in gold because we have to really think, what are we creating? And when you are aligned to yourself, you know what you're creating. It may not be super squeaky clean, but you make sure that when you are actually creating things out there, that things are squeaky clean and that your legacy actually continues to grow rather than having your ship crack and sink to the bottom with nothing. So those are the two distinctions and that I had come across with my recent breakthrough. And it just kind of blew me away. I didn't realize that I was leading with the survival leadership, and that's why things weren't working. So if you are having any particular challenge in your life, this is likely what's happening. And I would love to hear it. I'd love to invite you into the membership because it's my mission for you, for me, to you, to believe that you are here to make the biggest impact through your business. And because that's what I'm here to do. And I would love it if you would join the membership. It's almost ready. So if you're interested, just leave a comment there and I can reach out to you when it's actually ready. And yeah, it's exciting to know that the power is in our hands. It always has been in our hands. And hopefully this helps you to understand where your power lies and your next move and where you need to take responsibility, because this plays out everywhere for everyone. And can you imagine if our actual leaders that are in power that we see today actually took self-responsibility and actually led with a pure heart and pure devotion? What kind of world are we going to be living in? Can you imagine if you stepped up, if I stepped up and I led with a pure heart, with pure devotion? We could just dramatically change the world. I would impact the next person, the next person, the next person. You would impact the next person, the next person, the next person. And then the next thing you know, it's like, where are we? Like, we're in this magical, freaking amazing place where everybody's responsible for themselves. They're taking leadership of themselves. You cannot lead another person without being a leader to yourself, leading yourself through the emotions. Like when things get overwhelming, you have to be able to lead yourself through it, because who else is going to do it for you? Nobody. Nobody's going to save you. You have to do it yourself. And it's in those moments you find what you're made of. Like those really sticky, like, okay, what do I do here? Like when you're really overwhelmed, it's like, it's so powerful to sit there and go, okay, what do I do? Like, what do I need to do to get through this? And you find the answers. You trust your instincts and you will find the answers. And just knowing that you're going to find the answers and trusting that that instinct, that instinctual answer will come is everything. It is absolutely everything. And my goodness, I think that's it. So I hope that this was insightful. I will be doing more of these breakthrough broadcasts, and I hope that they serve you well. And let me know in the comments what you think. If you've had any breakthroughs or any experience like this or anything like that. And I'll see what I can do about posting the picture of this other card. I don't actually have the physical copy, it's just a digital copy, so I'll snap a picture of it, but it's absolutely beautiful, this card. It's so beautiful. And it's hard work being responsible for yourself, but you know what? We're here to change the world. We're not here to screw around and sink in the ship. Like, we're not doing that. So I am so glad you're here and that you've listened so far. I think I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Heather. I'd love to see you in the membership. I'll have a link for you soon. I'm building it, so it's like, I don't know when it's going to be ready, but I'm so excited about it. Oh my goodness. This is literally like burning it all down so you can find yourself. It's just going to be amazing. It's going to be work. It's going to be amazing. And I can't wait to see you in there. So until next time, bye for now.